Imagine waking up in 2025
Oh, okay.
to a totally different America. Like you step out your door and things just feel off.
Yeah, like something's different, but you can't quite.
Exactly. And it's not just like a vibe, it's like the whole system has changed. The rules, the players, everything.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's going on?
So there's this document, right? It's called Project 2025.
Project 2025. Sounds ominous.
It kind of is. It's a 900-page plan to completely reshape the U.S. government.
900 pages. Wow, someone's serious about this.
Dead serious. And the people behind it are not some fringe group. We're talking former Trump administration officials, over 100 conservative groups.
So this is like the real deal.
Oh, yeah, this is the playbook for a potential second Trump administration.
That's a big deal. And we're going to break down exactly what's in this thing.
We are. That's why we're here. We're calling it a deep dive for a reason.
And I'm guessing this isn't just some wish list. They've actually got a plan to make this happen.
Right on. Project 2025 isn't just about ideas. It's about action. They've got it all mapped out. The policies, the people, the whole nine yards.
Okay, so walk me through this. What's the game plan?
So they've got these four main pillars. Think of them like the foundation of this whole project.
I'm listening.
First, you've got the policy guide.
Right, gotta have a what?
Then there's a database of potential personnel, like a who's who of people they want in key positions.
Filling those government jobs.
Exactly. And then, to make sure these folks are ready to hit the ground running, they've even got a training academy.
Wow, they're really thinking long-term here.
Oh, yeah, this is a whole movement. And last but not least, they have a detailed 180-day action plan, basically a to-do list for the first 6 months after taking office.
So if Trump wins, they're ready to go on day one.
Precisely. They're not wasting any time.
Ambitious, I
Yeah.
gotta say. It reminds me a bit of the Federalist Society, you know? They've been working for decades to shape the courts.
Interesting comparison.
Yeah, but Project 2025, this is like the Federalist Society on steroids. It's not just one branch of government, it's the whole shebang.
It's a whole new level of strategic planning. And it begs the question, are we looking at a continuation of existing conservative ideas, or is this something entirely new and different?
Right, like is this conservative 2.0?
That's what we're going to try to unpack in this deep dive. We're going to dig into the details of the project, look at some of the key policy shifts, and examine the reactions it's already generating.
I'm ready to dive in.
Let's do it. Okay, so we're talking about a potential complete government makeover, new policies, new people in charge. It's a lot to unpack. But what does it actually look like in practice? Let's get specific, dive into some of these proposed changes. Because Project 2025 doesn't just lay out a vision, it offers a concrete roadmap.
And that roadmap has a lot of folks talking. For instance, one of the most debated aspects is this thing called Schedule F.
Schedule F doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, does it?
Not exactly a catchy name, but trust me, this has huge implications.
Yeah, Schedule F sounds about as exciting as, I don't know, sorting your sock drawer. But for our listeners, imagine this. Right now, there are thousands of jobs in government, scientists, policy analysts, the people who make sure regulations are actually followed. They're hired based on their expertise, their experience, their career civil servants, not political appointees, right?
They're supposed to be the steady hand,
Yeah,
regardless of who's in the White House.
exactly. Schedule F changes all that.
It throws the whole system out the window. Project 2025, they want to reclassify all these positions.
Yeah.
Basically, it would give a president the power to replace these seasoned professionals with, well, whoever they want.
Essentially, you're swapping out experts for loyalists.
That's the gist, yeah. And we're talking about potentially gutting expertise in crucial areas. Environmental protection, scientific research, even national security.
It's like, imagine replacing a seasoned park ranger with someone who just finished binge-watching a survival show.
Right. They might look the part, they may even talk the talk. But do they actually have the knowledge, the experience to handle a real crisis? Big difference.
Huge difference. And it gets to the heart of this fundamental question. What is the role of government? Should these jobs go to the most qualified people or the most politically aligned? Project 2025 seems to have a very clear answer.
Loyalty over expertise. That's the message it sends, at least to me.
And it's not just about personnel, right? It's about priorities, too. Project 2025 dives headfirst into some seriously hot-button social issues. And, I mean, headfirst, no hesitation.
Yeah, no pulling punches there. And perhaps the most stark example is their stance on abortion. The document proposes a potential nationwide ban on mifepristone, which is one of the medications used for medication abortions.
Which are already incredibly difficult for many people to access.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it doesn't stop there. They even talk about dusting off the Comstock Act. You familiar with that one?
The Comstock Act, that's like a relic from the 1800s, isn't it?
1873, to be exact.
Yeah.
And it could be used to restrict access to abortion pills sent through the mail.
Wow. Talk about a blast from the past. It's like this reminder that laws, even ones from over a century ago, can have real consequences today.
Absolutely. And Project 2025 doesn't shy away from using those old laws to advance their agenda. It's not just about restricting access either. They're calling for a pro-life task force within the Department of Health and Human Services. They want to define marriage based on biblical principles.
That's a whole other conversation about the separation of church and state.
Right. Big questions about what that means for religious freedom, for individual liberties.
So we've got potential shakeups and who's running the show, massive changes to social policy, and hold on tight because Project 2025 also sets its sights on some major federal agencies.
They're not afraid to swing that wrecking ball. They want to significantly downsize or even completely eliminate agencies like NOAA.
NOAA, for people who don't know, remind us what that one is.
The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. They play a vital role in tracking climate change, understanding weather patterns, so crucial in this day and age.
And they're on the chopping block.
They're in the crosshairs, along with the Department of Education. It's like they're saying, climate change, not our problem. Education, let the states handle it.
It's a pretty clear statement about their priorities. And the potential fallout, I mean, it's huge. We're talking about potentially losing critical services, scientific research, environmental protections.
Exactly. It's a major shift away from this idea of a strong federal government and towards a much more hands-off approach.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Schedule F, social policy, government agencies being completely restructured. You'd think that'd be enough for one plan, but buckle up, because it goes even further. They're taking aim at immigration.
Yeah, immigration is a major focus. They're proposing a massive expansion of border enforcement.
What does that look like, practically speaking?
More walls, more personnel, a greater role for the military at the border. Plus, potential rollbacks of protections for undocumented immigrants already here.
So a more militarized border, stricter immigration policies, it's a significant departure from how the U.S. has historically approached immigration, right?
It represents a fundamental shift. And again, these changes, they would have very real consequences for millions of people.
So we've looked at the game plan, the policies, the potential shakeups, but what's the fallout? It's one thing to have a plan on paper. What happens when it hits the real world?
That's where things get really interesting. Project 2025 hasn't just sparked conversation, it's ignited a full-blown political firestorm.
Which is understandable. It's a bold plan, one that could fundamentally change the country.
And the reactions are telling. It's like everyone is trying to figure out how to play this, where to stand, what it means for them.
Like a giant game of political chess with everyone trying to anticipate the next move.
Exactly. And perhaps the most intriguing reaction is coming from Trump himself.
Oh yeah, this is where things get a little weird, right?
A little bit. Because on the one hand, this entire project, it's based on his administration, his policies. But then on the other hand, he's out there denying any knowledge of it.
It's like he wants to have his cake and eat it too.
Right. He's called some of the proposals ridiculous, even abysmal. It's a very calculated distancing tactic.
Well, the Biden campaign is doing the exact opposite.
Oh yeah, they're not letting this one go. They're linking Trump directly to Project 2025, portraying it as his threat to democracy. It's a powerful line of attack. This is what you get if he's reelected.
Smart move, politically speaking. Both sides are trying to control the narrative.
Absolutely. It's a battle for public opinion. And then you've got the Republicans, and their response is kind of all over the place. Some are trying to distance themselves from Project 2025.
Like it's radioactive or something?
Kind of, yeah. They're saying it's just one think tank's ideas, not representative of the entire party. Others are embracing it, calling it a bold vision for the future. It's causing some real divisions.
So you've got Trump denying, Biden condemning, and Republicans scrambling. It's a fascinating, if slightly confusing, political landscape. Makes you wonder who's playing what game.
Right. And it makes you think about what this all means in the long run, because these aren't just abstract ideas we're talking about. Remember Vibe Check.
The sentiment analysis tool from Oak, our partners in this deep dive.
Yeah, they've been analyzing the reactions to Project 2025. And it's a real mixed bag. Some people are intrigued, others are terrified.
Because they realize this isn't some political fantasy. These changes, if they happen, could impact every aspect of our lives. Healthcare, jobs, education, the environment, you name it.
It's a glimpse into a potential future, and it's got people feeling a lot of different things. Excited, anxious, angry, you name it.
And it raises this crucial question, regardless of where you stand politically. What does it tell us that this plan exists?
Right, that someone sat down and wrote out a 900-page plan to overhaul the government, that it's being taken seriously by powerful people. What does that say about where we are as a country?
Big questions, and we're not going to pretend to have all the answers. What we hope to do with these deep dives is equip you, the listener, with the information you need to form your own opinion.
Because ultimately, it's up to each of us to decide what kind of future we want.
Exactly. That's why we encourage you to check out Project 2025 for yourselves, play around with Oak's Vibe Check tool, and most importantly, keep the conversation going.
Have those tough discussions, listen to different perspectives, because that's how we move forward together.
And that's what these deep dives are all about. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time for another deep dive into the issues shaping our world.